Hey everyone, it is late at night and I am Norman. I have a growing vault of Microbrands, a database of sorts, and tonight we're going to be dipping into that database. We're going to be looking at 4 different Microbrands, exploring the watches that they're putting out, and a little bit of the history of the Microbrands themselves, and those that founded them. So let us begin. The first brand on my list is Astor+Banks. And the watches that they put out are generally fairly sporty. Some of them come in at 40 millimeters, some are actually a bit smaller. One of the watches that they put out is the Sea Ranger M2. These are watches that have an internal bezel on them, and they're available in a number of different colorways. I personally kind of like the black dial with the cream coloring, as well as the blue. It's a nice slate color blue on the dial. There's a date window at the 6 o'clock, and on each of the colorways, they actually have the date wheel matching the dial color. And on the black dial, it's really subtle, because the text on the date wheel is red. So I imagine it's very difficult to tell the dates on that particular colorway. But it's super impressive that that wheel matches the dial colors on each of their watches. The case size on these is 40 millimeters. The movement inside them is an LJP G100. They have flat sapphire crystals on them, and they have 300 meters of water resistance. They retail for around $1,200. And the internal bezel glows. That's pretty cool. The general aesthetic of these watches is just great. They also make pieces called the Fortitude Pro, and these are also available in a number of different colorways. These are sort of like sporty everyday wear watches, kind of adventurer pieces, and from what I can tell in pictures, they look really good. They appear to be fairly slim watches. The cases are sleek, sporty, and elegant. I love the handset on these, and the bracelets look great. I kind of like the sand version with its cream colored dial. And these are more affordable offerings at around $600. The case size on these is 38.5 millimeters, and the case height is just under 12 millimeters, but that includes the crystal. Inside these watches is a Miyota 9015. They have 200 meters of water resistance, and their crystals are sapphire. And actually they're flat crystals, so that height really doesn't take into account the crystal. Maybe they meant the bezel. But yeah, these are gorgeous watches as well. Another line of watches that the brand produces is the Fortitude Light line. And this is actually my favorite lineup, mainly just because these watches don't have date windows. They have the same great DNA that the Fortitude Pros do. The same great understated yet contemporary size cases. The handsets are brilliant. I kind of like the silver colorway because it has interesting blue accents on the dial. For example, the minutes track markers are all blue. The hour and minutes hands are also blue, as is the branding just below the 12 o'clock. These watches also have 200 meters of water resistance, sapphire crystals, and the movement inside them is a Miyota 9039. And all the different variants of these watches retail for under $600, that's in British pounds, except for one, the mother of pearl dial. So these are even more affordable. Unfortunately, a lot of them are sold out, and they are not available in a black dial variant. And also noted on their site is the Matter of Time X Astor+Banks, but there's nothing on the page for that collection. But it looks pretty cool in the one picture they have. So that's Astor+Banks. And this is gonna be a long video. So I think I'm gonna have to do dives into the Microbrands themselves, their origin stories and history and whatnot in separate videos in the future. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, be sure to do so that you can catch those videos when they come out. The next brand on my list is Carpenter. And this brand makes some pretty amazing Bauhaus style dials. It is so difficult for me to pronounce that correctly. My entire life, it's been Bauhaus. I'm trying. But these dials are super gorgeous. However, there is a big problem with these watches. So let's take a look at them. All of their watches seem to be one of 3 different variants that the brand puts out, and they're available in a number of different colorways. So the first variant is the M23 Brooklyn Field, and these pieces feature batten markers, pencil style hands, and some of the black dial variants have a really cool orange seconds hand on them. There's a circular date wheel at the 3 o'clock. Unfortunately, the date wheel does not match the dial, so it really stands out on the dark dial pieces. It's much more subtle on the silver dial ones. Some of their watches are available on bracelets. The ones that are on leather straps retail for just under $600. The ones that are on bracelets retail for nearly $900. I really like the black dial version of these. I love that seconds hand. And the minimalism on the dial is just great. The case size on these is 38 millimeters. The movement inside them is an ETA 2824-2. They have 50 meters of water resistance, and the crystals on them are acrylic box crystals. Unfortunately, they have odd width lugs at 19 millimeters. The other variant actually has a number of different reference numbers, but the dials all look pretty much the same. I think the reference numbers might be to the different colorways, but these pieces are kind of Max Bill looking. So they have Arabic numerals for the hours indicators. They have the same minimalist hands and circular date window at the 3 o'clock. They're available at the same price points. I love the minutes indicators that are on the outer edge of the dial, outside of the batten markers, which are just outside of the Arabic numerals. And the movement that's inside these watches is the Miyota 821A. And these have sapphire crystals. They also have 50 meters of water resistance, but these pieces are a bit larger at 40 millimeters. And the final variant that I'm seeing on their website is the M18 Brooklyn Field. And these have a fun, super minimalist dial on them. It appears they're only available with black dials, and they have the same fun orange seconds hand on them. They also have the round date wheel at 3 o'clock. And here's where we see the problem with these watches. Look at the photo of a side view. This watch is so thick. It's like an oval. Even if we ignore the domed crystal on it, it's still a super chunky case. Especially when you consider that these also are 40 millimeter watches. I wonder if all their pieces are this thick. These watches also have the 821A inside of them, sapphire crystals, and 50 meters of water resistance. And these watches retail for $625, and they're sold out. So yeah, the dials on these watches are absolutely brilliant, but if their watches are as thick as this last one, yeah, that's not good. I feel like the brand should really try and slim those watches up a bit. Maybe do some hand winders so that you can have some thinner movements inside them. But that's Carpenter watches. The next brand that I have on my list is Clemence or Clemence watches. And these are assembled in Britain. They produce 2 different styles of watches. There's the Monroe, which is my favorite. These watches look so good. They're sort of explorer style, with nice looking boxed crystals on them. They have Arabic numerals for the even hours, and thick, sort of batten marker style markers for the rest of them. These are no-date watches, and the hour hand is pretty interesting. It's an arrow-shaped hand, however the end of it has kind of a cathedral pattern in it. I think I've seen that symbol somewhere. The seconds hand on these pieces is elegant looking. The bracelets look really nice. And on the bracelet, they retail for $575. Well, British pounds. On a strap, they're $4.99. And the crystal adds 3/4 of a millimeter to the case's height. That is proper. Even taking that into account, these watches have a height of just 10 millimeters. Nice. The case size on these is 37.5 millimeters. The box crystals are sapphire, and they have a water resistance of 150 meters. The movement inside these watches is a Miyota 9039. These watches just look so cool. The second design that they sell is the Photic Diver. I think that's how that's pronounced. And these are super elegant looking dive watches. I love how tiny the bezel is on them. It's like a super thin 50 fathoms bezel or something. The handset looks good. There are Arabic numerals at the 12 and 6 o'clock. These are no date watches. And look at the blue dial. Ooh. The case size on these is 39 millimeters. The case height is just under 11 millimeters. You know, twice now I've almost said meters when I'm talking about case size. I wonder if I've done that earlier in this video. We'll find out. The crystals are sapphire. Inside these watches is a Miyota 9039. And they have 200 meters of water resistance. And even though on their site they show the blue one, there's actually a number of different colorways that apparently these are available in. Unfortunately, they're out of stock, and I'm not sure what they retail for, but they're amazing looking dive watches. So that is Clemence. The last brand that I have on my list is Duckworth Prestex. And this brand puts out a brilliant tank style watch, but we're not going to go over that one tonight. I'm going to save that for a tank style dress watches video. Sorry about that. So this brand puts out some really great looking cushion case watches. I like the offset sub-seconds dial, down at about the 5 o'clock. Well, in between 4 and 5. The case size on these is 39 millimeters, and they have a thickness of 11 millimeters. They have sapphire crystals and 200 meters of water resistance. That's not bad. And inside these watches is a Miyota 82S5. They also make quartz cushion-cased chronographs. I really love the green dial one with the orange chronograph hand. That's an amazing colorway. And that one retails for $575. It's a larger piece at 42 millimeters. And being a cushion case, I feel like that's going to wear large. They have sapphire crystals, and the movement inside these watches is the Miyota 6S21 quartz movement. And they have 100 meters of water resistance. They make a nice looking round chronograph as well. The yellow dial California dial looks pretty crazy. They even have a dive watch with a cushion case. And those retail for $995 or $895 depending on the colorway that you choose. The cases on these are also 42 millimeters. They have 200 meters of water resistance, sapphire crystals, and inside these watches is a Miyota 9075, which is an automatic GMT movement. They have a crazy looking skeleton dial piece for almost $1,500, and that particular watch is a manual wind. But I will be discussing their tank style watches in an upcoming video, because they are gorgeous. So there are 4 Microbrands that we pulled from my database. In the future I'll be covering more. This will probably be an ongoing series. Thanks for watching.